Listen up, because we're issuing a Code Ninja security advisory right now. Think about it. What happens when the exact tools built to protect your infrastructure are weaponized to completely dismantle it? Well, that's exactly what we're facing. This explainer covers a rapidly escalating crisis with Microsoft Defender. Coordinated vulnerability disclosure isn't just some professional courtesy anymore, it is an absolute necessity. We're dropping this urgent intel today to give you immediate mitigation strategies and, quite frankly, to force the vendor's hand on patches. Your perimeter is actively under threat, so let's get right into it.
So the clock on this thing is ticking, and it's moving fast. Let's break down the timeline. The whole mess kicked off back on April 3rd and 15th. That's when a disgruntled researcher, going by the alias Nightmare Eclipse, just totally shattered standard disclosure norms and dropped these rogue proof-of-concept exploits out of nowhere. Fast forward to May 20th. CVE 726-45498 gets officially published, and within hours, NIST aggressively bumps up the threat level. And that brings us to the wall we're about to hit, an uncompromising federal ultimatum set for June 3, 2026. Like I said, things are moving incredibly fast, which means we have to move faster.
Okay, before we get into the actual mechanics of these exploits, we need to pause for a quick but absolutely crucial comms check protocol. This is a baseline security necessity for gathering real-time intelligence. First up, make sure you hit subscribe to @cybertech79 and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of these critical alerts. Second, drop a like on this explainer right now. Think of it as a formal ACK, an acknowledgement that you've received this intel. And finally, I need a census from you guys. Jump into the comments and let us know. Are you patched or are you vulnerable? We really need to gauge the active blast radius across the community right now.
All right, let's talk about that blast radius and unpack the specific rogue arsenal that Nightmare Eclipse dumped on us. We're currently tracking 4 active, weaponized threats. You've got BlueHammer and Red Sun. Both of those are local privilege elevation or LPE flaws. Then there's UnDefend, which is a brutally severe denial of service vulnerability. And rounding it out is Yellow Key, a BitLocker bypass. But here's the reality on the ground. The incident responders over at Huntress, they've confirmed they are already seeing threat actors actively leveraging BlueHammer, Red Sun, and UnDefend in live-in-the-wild attacks right this very second.
To actually stop these threats, we have to understand exactly how they work. Let's zoom in on the UnDefend flaw, officially tracked as CVE 2026-4549. This one goes straight for the throat, targeting the Microsoft Defender anti-malware platform. That platform is the entire collection of user mode binaries and kernel mode drivers running right on top of Windows. The exploit triggers an uncontrolled resource consumption state. You might know it as CWE 400. So what does that actually mean for your network? It means it effectively blinds your endpoint's primary line of defense. It completely paralyzes the anti-malware platform, leaving the host utterly defenseless.
And honestly, that perfectly sets up the compounded danger of the secondary critical threat we're looking at, CVE 2026-4191. This vulnerability lives directly inside the Microsoft malware protection engine itself. Because the engine handles link resolution improperly before it accesses files, an attacker can exploit it to pull off a full local privilege elevation. We're talking total host compromise here. They get full system privileges. Now think about it. If an attacker chains that ability to blind your defender with system-level access, yeah, it's game over for that node. Literally.
Now this next part is exactly why independent security verification is absolutely critical. We saw an alarming failure in threat assessment happen on May 20th. At 9:16 a.m., Microsoft officially submitted the UnDefend CVE. They claimed it was just a local attack vector and gave it a heavily downplayed CVSS 3.1 base score of 4.0, basically calling it a medium severity issue. But catch this. By 3:05 p.m. that same day, NIST had run their initial analysis and drastically corrected the record. They bumped it all the way up to a 7.5 high severity, and crucially, they identified it as a network attack vector. That kind of discrepancy is incredibly dangerous, and it's exactly why we never, ever blindly trust the initial vendor report.
Just to hammer home how severe this intelligence really is, I want to highlight a specific number for you, 7.8. The research team over at Tenable independently verified this extreme risk profile, and they assigned a CVSS version 2 base score of 7.8 specifically to the UnDefend flaw. So the consensus across both independent researchers and federal analysts is crystal clear right now. This isn't just a minor bug, it is a highly critical threat that actively compromises the absolute foundational security layer of your Windows hosts.
Because the danger level is this high, CISA had to step in, issuing Binding Operational Directive 22-01. And the uncompromising reality they laid out is this. By June 3, 2026, all U.S. federal civilian agencies have to either apply the vendor mitigations or, and I quote, discontinue use of the product if mitigations are unavailable. Let that sink in. They are literally mandating agencies to rip Microsoft Defender completely out of their networks if they can't secure it. As private sector defenders, we absolutely have to adopt that exact same aggressive posture. The threat really is that severe.
Okay, let's talk solutions. Here is your actionable mitigation protocol, your strict patching directive to lock down the perimeter. Step 1. You need to verify your endpoint versions right now. If you're running anti-malware platform versions from 4.18.2630.3111 up to but not including 4.18.2640.7, you are vulnerable, period. Step 2. Push those fixes. You've got to get the anti-malware platform up to version 4.18.2640.7 and the malware protection engine up to version 1.1.2640.8. And step 3. Enforce that June 3rd deadline internally. Do not, under any circumstances, let unpatched machines communicate on your network past that date. We're bringing all this intelligence to light today because when your default defenses fall apart, coordinated disclosure becomes an absolute necessity. You, the users, need to know this information so you can actually protect your systems. We're issuing this Code Ninja advisory to force action right now, before it's entirely too late. I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. If your primary defense is compromised, what exactly is your fallback plan? Get out there, patch your systems, enforce the deadline, lock down your perimeter, stay secure.